This is the Self-Aware Leader Podcast. Now your host, Jason Rigby.
Realistic thinking, guys. What does that look like? There is a huge difference between what we wish and what is. Let me say that again, guys. Reality is the difference between what we wish and what is. And you cannot ignore what's in front of you if you want to succeed. And this takes time to learn and evolve into a realistic thinker. Last podcast, we talked about being a creative thinker. So you may think that this is, kind of an oxymoron. It's like, Jason, you just told me to think out of the box and be super creative. And now you're saying be realistic. What does this even mean? Like, why it isn't, I know I'm supposed to be like a visionary and I'm supposed to like believe the impossible. This seems really negative to think of, realistic thinking. If you're going to solve problems, if you're going to prevent mistakes, you've got to have a dichotomy. And we talk about this all the time. And Jocko Willink talks about the dichotomy of leadership. I think this is so important. The dichotomy is that balance between creative thinking and realistic thinking. There are value to both of them. If you have a problem, let's say you've got $2,000 in your bank account and you've got to make payroll. And payroll, let's say, is $3,200. There's no amount of creative thinking if you're 24 hours away from paying your employees and you don't have the money. You can take some time to have some creative thinking, yes, but what you need is realistic thinking. I have $1,200 I need in 24 hours to make payroll. How am I going to get that? Now you can, realistically, you've got to sit there and think, I have 24 hours to get an extra $1,200 to pay my employees. That's realistic. There's no wishful thinking and hoping that the $1,200 comes in. What do I need to do? Oh, I have $5,000 that clients owe me. Well, I got to get on the phone and get that money right now, whatever it takes. That's realistic thinking. Because realistic thinking is going to help you solve problems. It's going to keep you out of trouble. And it's going to allow you to create a foundation of certainty and security. Jordan Peterson talks about this. I get aggravated with him too. We all do. I love what he says sometimes and sometimes I don't. I know he's polarizing and that's what makes him who he is. And we need to learn to understand that humans are humans. And we all agree or disagree with each other. Sometimes I can't even agree with myself half the time. But Jordan Peterson talks about chaos and order, and I think this is so important. The realistic thinking is the order. The chaos is the creativity. You need both. You've got to have both. But I think what we're missing when we say that we just want to be, and a lot of times, if you're left or right brain, you're going to lean towards that area. Like if you're left brain, then you may lean towards realistic thinking and being logical and having no emotions. And this is what we do. And I have an engineering brain and do. Or you're creative in your right brain and you may be, I'm just going to go out and this is going to happen. And then fields of daisies and money's going to drop from the sky and it's just going to be awesome. And I'm being unrealistic both ways, but I want us to kind of get the point in saying that when we don't have that balance of creative thinking and realistic thinking, we're going to get ourselves in trouble as a leader. So what are some of the things that you can do to have realistic thinking? Well, I think most important, it's to look at what is worrying you right in the moment. What is the problem? Realistically, what is happening? And then you've got to say, is my emotions making it an 8, a 9, or 10 on the scale of 1 to 10 of it being a problem? So no, it's not my emotions. I got to get $1,200 in 24 hours to make payroll. And I don't know where I'm going to get it from. That's being realistic. Okay, this is a 10. I want to make sure I pay my employees. I love my employees. I want to make sure I pay them. I don't want to have a conversation with them tomorrow, or the end of the day today to say, hey, we don't. So what do I need to do realistically right now to be able to make payroll? You see how that goes, guys? You've got to be able to say, and sometimes in a problem or a situation that you can have, even a mistake. Think about a mistake that you make. You can take both. You can make a line down the middle of a piece of paper and put realistic and put creative. And then this will help in your self-awareness of bouncing back and forth from right to left brain. I think it's so important that we look at, we always talk about like work-life balance and making sure that your work and your life is balanced. And what does that look like? And, it's individual for each of us. But do we have this balance in our leadership? And are we actively being self-aware enough to be able to see the dichotomy in things? Sometimes we've got to make a decision, and it's got to be done right now. And you've got to lean on and have the ability inside of you to make that decision because it needs to be said and done immediately. Majority of the time with decision making, you can decentralize it and give it to others and allow others to take ownership. It's this dichotomy that we have to look at, and we have to go back and forth and say, yes, now is the time for me to adopt realistic thinking. And I think taking the responsibility in the situation is you defining its reality, if that makes sense. Because a lot of time we can go into creative thinking, and that's just an excuse for us to be fearful of the problem or the conversation that we have or the mistake that was made. Realistically, I need to own this mistake. It's my responsibility 100%. Well, this guy made it, but I'm not going to blame him. He's on my team. I'm going to take responsibility. I always do as a leader. I take 100% responsibility. I didn't make myself clear to that person. And because I didn't lay it out and make myself clear and allow him to take ownership of it, this mistake happened. And how are we going to prevent this from before? That's realistic thinking. Now, creativity is bringing them in the office and saying, hey, Bill, we made a mistake on this. And I made a mistake, and I want to apologize to you. And this is so powerful, guys, when you're doing coaching, when someone makes a mistake. You take the blame for it. You take 100% responsibility. They're going to see you model this. You're going to be showing them how they should do it by you doing it. And you're going to say, Bill, I wanted to apologize to you. I'm taking 100% responsibility. I did not give you clear directions. We didn't have enough conversations. And so this happened and this happened. So how do you think we can fix it, Bill? See, now we're going into it, and then we can guide and coach and move them along in that direction. But this requires effort, guys. And as I say all the time, and I'm going to close in this is so important. Leadership is a skill that you learn. Like it's if you want to learn math or you want to learn, how to use words in English and move them around in sentences, and you want to be a writer, that just takes skill. You've got to write, put in the time, put in the effort, and that's all leadership is. And you're going to evolve. The more you learn, the more you're going to evolve. And I'm so excited because we're launching the Self-Aware Leader community here very soon. And it's going to be very inexpensive. It's $39 a month. I wanted to keep it inexpensive so that whether you're a brand new leader, that's like McDonald's trip. $39 a month, and here's what you get with it. It's awesome. We're going to have live calls where everyone's going to be able to get together, and then we're going to be able to ask questions. I can help you with problems that you're having, maybe at the moment, or problems that you think that are going to be happening, and we can coach through it and walk through it and get the questions. If you need to have a serious conversation or fire somebody or something like that, I want to help you. I want to be a part of that. And we'll be having special guests and stuff like that in our community. I have a program that I'm using that's awesome, that's allowing this. And you guys will be able to post and have conversations, and we can have feedback and support. But there's going to be a lot of exclusive content. We're going to have workshops and webinars and resources I'm working on a resource now, a self-aware checklist for the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual side of you in your personal life. We're going to have that, and you can have a checklist that you're going to be, and I'm offering that for free. But I hope that you understand that what we're doing here is building community. I just don't want you to listen to the podcast and that's it. The only way that we're going to learn is to be in community. That is the best way to learn because we can hold each other accountable. We can ask questions. We can get those aha moments, and those you only get in a community. So I encourage you, look for that. I'll be, of course, having a whole podcast on it. And I just want to kind of pump it up. If it's something that you're interested in, you can go to selfawareleaders.com. That's selfawareleaders.com. And you can see the website, and you'll be able to sign up for it here very, very soon. And I'll be putting that out on the email newsletter. If you're not signed up for the email newsletter, go to selfawareleaders.com and you'll see where you can sign up. If you want, you can sign up for the podcast, you can sign up for the email newsletter, or you can sign up for the community if you want to jump right in. And for those of you, and I'm going to do a special thing for those of you that sign up, my first 100 people in the community that sign up, I'm super excited, and I want to do something special with some private coaching with you guys, one-on-one. I think that will be awesome. But guys, don't forget, make sure you share this with others, and let's build this community.
Thank you for tuning in to the Self-Aware Leader Podcast with host Jason Rigby. We hope this episode has inspired you to unleash your full potential and embrace your inner leadership. By expanding your consciousness, you can transform your mind, body, and soul and become the remarkable leader you were always meant to be. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with your loved ones and help us expand our community. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to having you join us again on the Self-Aware Leader Podcast.